I'm Moina from Claver Hill, and the purpose of this video is to show you how to use our apple pressing equipment safely. These are the two parts of the Scratter. It's a Speedle mill, state-of-the-art Scratter. It's fantastic. The bottom is covered for transport. You'll see the blades in a minute. This is very light and easy to transport. The base is very heavy, and I suggest you use a wheelbarrow or something similar to transport it from your car or van to where you're going to use it, and it needs to be undercover with an electricity supply. So once it's in position, take off the trug, and then here's the electrical connection, and there's a couple of towels because you can see the blades are very, very sharp. This is the plug. But don't switch it on yet. This is the connector to the Scratter base, and it goes in there. Okay, this is gaffer tape which I put across the hole, which I'll take off now because it's very important not to get water in that. And the connector on the top where you feed the apples in has to be in place on the hole, otherwise it doesn't work, rather like a food processor. The correct assembly of the top is very easy. You line up the hole and it fits in, and then there are 3 clips to go around the bottom that need to fit over like that. You put them over like that. They're all the same, and then once they're all on, you just so it's all ready. Okay, so what we need to do before we start is to remove the cable where people could trip on it. So and put a rug or something over the top so it's safe, like that, and then put the big trug underneath where the apple pulp will come out. And now we're ready to go. So we move the apples near the Scratter. Okay, now we can switch it on at the wall. You come over to the Scratter and you press the green button, and you wait for a few seconds for it to start moving round, and then you put them in. Don't put the apples in before you press the green button because it can damage the blades, and if anybody puts them in before you started the blades, you need to dismantle the top and start again. The noise it makes is safe at safe levels, so don't worry. Press the red button to stop. So now we're going to switch it on again. That was just demonstrating the on-off switch, and wait for the blades to get up to speed. It takes between 3 and 5 seconds, and put the apples in. Don't turn it off immediately that all the apples have gone through. You need to wait a few seconds, otherwise you'll just there'll be a few bits of apples in there. So once the trug is filled, it's approximately 50 kilos of apples. But once you've switched it off, turn it off at the wall as well for safety. And if you don't have enough to fill the trug, you might need to use previously pressed pulp to bulk it up, which we'll show you when we get onto the apple press. Now we're going to clean the Scratter before it's returned, and it's very important to switch off the electricity at the wall first, then to disconnect it here, and then take it apart. So when you take the top off, you have to be very careful to cover the hole where the screw goes in. So you have to unclip these first, and then you just lean it into the trug. Whoops. And you can see the hole. And use the gaffer tape, which hopefully earlier you've just put on the side of the Scratter, to ensure that no water can go or any juice can get into it. Once you've got most of it out, you need to use a toothbrush to get all the awkward bits. You put over some towels to make sure that there's no sharp bits, so avoid accidents. We'll just fit it round. And sort of make sure the towels stay in place, and then it's a broken trug, but it's quite useful as an extra cover, and then it's safe to transport back. Okay, so you need to clean out the bottom as well. an hydraulic press, when transporting it, it's important that the butterfly nut is done up really tight so it doesn't move. When you're getting it ready to use, you undo that. And then lift off the lid, which is very heavy, so make sure there's nobody nearby. And put it safely to one side. Inside there's a hessian, and you put it over the edge, which can be a fiddle. And the most important part is to make sure at the bottom it overlaps, so it goes in like that, all the way round. You might need to pull it down. If you don't do that, the apple pulp can escape at the bottom. This is the hydraulic bladder, which fills with water and presses the apple pulp towards the edges, and we have to put the apple pulp around it. It's important to have another bucket so you don't lose any juice, and something to put it into. This is now full, it's up to the top of the bladder, and what we do is we put the hessian in. It tends to come back up again, but don't worry about that. Make sure everybody stands back because you don't want to trap their fingers. You put it like that, and you can tell it's on by looking round. And then you put the butterfly nut on securely. And then most important, this is a valve, and you make sure it's open. There's a little hole on this side you can't see at the moment. And that lets out the air from the bladder when you turn on the water. This is the water connector, which we have to connect to the inlet valve in the press. So here we go. Clicks. That's fine. And then we turn the water on. And the way to check that the valve is open is very important, is to listen, and you can hear the air coming out. Okay, once the air has come out of the bladder, this shows it has, because the water's coming out. You must close that valve. So once you close the valve on the top of the apple press, your attention goes to the gauge down here, and on the red, it mustn't go beyond 2 bar, or the black 30 pounds a square inch. You must switch off the water then.
It's really good.
The hydraulic press is very efficient. You can see it coming out very fast. You can see that the rate of apple juice is slowing, and it's almost time to turn it off. It's almost got to 2. You don't have to wait till it gets to 2. If it's stopped, you can turn it off earlier. I'm going to turn it off now as the flow is really slow. So no more water. So we need to empty the bladder of water now. So what you do is disconnect this. It comes out very fast. Whoops. Collect the water, and you can use that to wash apples. So undo the valve, the valve at the top, so to make sure it's open when you put it on again. So from one pressing we've got over 20 litres. In fact, we needed another one as well. The water is useful for washing apples, but also for washing the inside of the apple press, the hessian and the bladder, ready for the next load. Now the water is drained out almost. The valve on the top is no longer having water. You now undo the butterfly valve. Whoops! Take the lid off, stand well back, it's very heavy. Okay, and you can see what the bladder has done that, and it's pushed it all out to the side, you can see. So we just take this top bit off, and then you move this around, the actual carcass around until it's no longer under the flaps, and pull it up. So where the overlapping was, can you hear that noise? It sticks a little bit, and then what you do is you put one hand underneath, one on top, bend your knees and put it straight into the wheelbarrow. Empty it out and put this in the water to clean it, and the rest of this goes in the wheelbarrow as well. So this pulp might be useful if you haven't got enough to reach the top inside the press. You can then pack it, so maybe yours just comes to here, you can pack it up to here, but if you don't, it won't be so efficient. So between pressings you need to clean the bladder. So it's easier with a cloth. Once it's clean, we put the outer shell back on. We don't need to clean this between each pressing, but it needs to be thoroughly cleaned inside and out with all the bits off when you've finished and you're returning it. The Hessian is cleaned each time, and it's the same as we did before. Okay, so it needs to be reassembled as well as thoroughly cleaned to transport it back. So for transporting, you can actually unhook this and the water comes out, and then once the water's finished you can tuck it underneath and it won't get damaged when you transport it back. These are bottles you can use to pasteurize the apple juice. It's important to pasteurize it because otherwise it'll become very fizzy very quickly. If you pasteurize it properly, it'll be fine for up to 2 years until you take the top off. So it needs to be a clean, washed out wine bottle with a screw top. It doesn't matter if it's a dip, it can be flat for apple juice. If you're doing cider, it's a different thing. You need to make sure the bottles are stronger. Before we put it in the bottles, we are filtering it, and we've got a sieve and a muslin, and that's to catch any bits. It's much simpler. Whoops. It will be frothy, so it's a good idea to wait and do another one, to top it up a little bit. It needs to be about here. It's hard to know. About there. At the bottom, when the bubbles go, it will be about there, and just literally just put it on the top. Don't do it up, because when it pasteurizes it gets very hot, and if that's done up, it might explode. Okay, this is a pasteurizer. I've partly filled it with about 3 kettle loads of water and switched it on. Now we put the bottles in. You can use flip tops as well, but you just literally rest them on the top. So I haven't put any more water in, but all the bottles are in there now, with the top just sitting on the top, and you can see that level of water is much higher. So I'll start adding more water until it gets to just up to the neck, and now you fill it up till there, and put the lid on. It's switched at the wall, and you need to check it's 80, and you need to turn this on. So put it to 60 for now, and then you press this button down. This button will make an alarm when it reaches 80. The temperature is actually 77, but this dial doesn't show it very clearly, so it's to be safe, it's good to put it to 80. And then when the alarm goes off, you turn this dial down to 30, and then it will turn itself off automatically once its 30 minutes has gone. But we don't know how long it's going to take to heat up, so we'll put it on a bit more because it will take some time to heat up. When it's finished, when the alarm's gone off, do up all the tops before you take them out, all of them, because they can fall over. So once you've got it, you need a cloth because it's very hot. And then with a cloth you do it up really, really tight. If you don't do this, air will get in and it will start fermenting. And then what you do before you put it away, you put it on its side, because this makes sure that the hot apple juice sterilises the top, and it's really perfect. And then after a couple of minutes you can put it upright and wait for it to cool down, and then it's perfect for drink for up to 2 years.